going to be presented with a map system that's very similar to Guardian Challenge. You're going to, on the left-hand side, you're going to have your league. On the right-hand side, you're going to have home base for the opponent. And you'll see that the map is sort of symmetrical in a lot of ways. So you're going to have the same building positions on each side of the map, but sometimes the buildings are actually different. So you'll have treatment rooms and energy shields and all these different material storage. There's like a weapons depot, and each one is going to provide you a different status effect or attack enhancement or defense enhancement for your squads in battle, and as well as defense. I'm just kind of like scanning the map here, trying to get a lay of the land, figure out exactly what each side has. You'll notice that, and I'll probably go to it in a moment, but there's a spaceship in the very middle of the map. And then there's sort of this plus sign, I suppose, where there are items above, below, left, and right on the, like, around the spaceship. Those nodes take a few minutes to open up on the map. So the spaceship is going to take 20 minutes to open up. The other depots in that plus sign configuration are going to take 10 minutes to open up. The other items you can immediately go for. So there's 4 production buildings on your side of the map that you can push for. There's 4 on your opponent's side of the map that you can immediately go for and try to push them out of. And so that's what you really want to be focusing on to start out with, is trying to, obviously you're going to have people immediately put their best squads in those 4 production buildings that you can claim to start the match. And then you'll end up kind of pushing forward from there. So, I mean, there's a bunch of different strategies that you can employ. I don't want to talk too much about strategy, but at least in this video, but I'm just going to try to give you a basic overview of kind of how you want to accomplish things. And you'll see me constantly scanning the map and going into the coordinated assault screen where I can kind of see who's sending assaults and kind of who's where. I'm also looking at the little eye icon on the enemy production buildings, trying to figure out who's there, how big their squad is, how tough they are. There were a couple of people on this enemy team that were really good. They had really good squads, and so we kind of had some difficulty taking some of those resource nodes throughout the match. You know, to start this match out, it felt like it might actually be a little bit more competitive, but we ended up getting a few extra people to join at some point right after what you're seeing right now, and it just kind of became a landslide once we got a general feel for how the mode should work. One thing we're trying to do early on is make sure that all of our production buildings on our side of the map are doubled up, so you can have 2 squads in each one defending, and you're going to be getting 60 kryptonite crystals for every 10 seconds for each squad that's in these production buildings. It's a nice passive way to earn some income and get things started. We're looking at trying to push some of these production buildings on the enemy side of the map at this point. We've got all the other ones shored up, but then we noticed that these crystal piles appear on the map. Now, these crystal piles start out, they're worth 2,000 kryptonite crystals each, and then towards the end of the map, it actually increases. I think it more than doubles, and I think maybe it's around 140%. You'll probably see it come up on the screen at some point. But we're pushing to a lot of these crystal piles. We're going to get the ones on our side, and then I think we end up trying to go for some of the piles on the opponent side. Now, this is very similar to trying to seize the production buildings on the Guardian Challenge map. If you are occupying one of the crystal piles, someone from the opposing team can push. You can see actually one of my squads is recovering. It might have been from getting pushed out of one of these, but basically you can kind of set someone by pushing their crystal pile and pushing them out of it. This is really how you start racking up a lot of resources. Is you want to make sure whoever's in the match, assuming that both sides have 20 people, you want to have your lowest squads, like the people with the smallest squads going for the crystal piles on your side. You should only be pushing the crystal piles on the opponent side with your best squads and people that know they can actually win them. I'll point out here, you can see at the bottom of the screen, there's now a match chat. So you'll actually be able to go in and talk to your teammates while the match is going on. I think it may persist for a few minutes after the match is over with, but you'll be able to have specific discussion about the match. I think this is something that will be implemented for Guardian Challenge as well going forward. But it's very helpful to be able to have those conversations outside of what's going on in the league, especially considering that only 20 to 30 of your league members will be able to participate in this mode in the first place. So there might be other discussions going on. You can kind of keep the match chat into one place. And people from the league will be able to spectate this match, people who are not participating, and they'll be able to kind of do call outs for you in the match chat as well, which is nice. Now we're coming up on 1 minute left before these 4 additional resource nodes around the spaceship core will come available. And so that's kind of signifying the next phase of the match, where there's definitely going to be some more contesting of nodes, and it's going to be a bit more difficult with the fighting, because you're going to start having to use additional squads for kind of holding those down. I think in a match that's more of a fair fight, you're going to have situations where those nodes are going to be constantly contested. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. And you can see some of the attribute bonuses here for all the different items. You got crystal production for the material storage. Energy shield gives defense and men. Treatment room is healing up. You've got the weapons depot are going to give you attack. You can also see here that there is a timeline. We kind of already talked about it. All the additional strongholds becoming contestable after 10 minutes. The spaceship becoming contestable after 20 minutes. You just saw on screen, you can click on your opponent, and it provides you a little bit of information on both squads or both leagues, all of the production buildings that they own and how many resources they're bringing in. So it really helps you figure out whether you're on track to win the match or not. We're coming up on 6 minutes before the spaceship core opens up, and we actually have someone who's trying to push the recovery center, which is one of the remaining items that we were trying to get. We're definitely trying to put a lot of pressure on their side of the board, and I think you're going to see that in a lot of matches where, that's kind of the idea, is to push over into the enemy territory. You definitely want to own a few things on their side and prevent them from getting yours. It's pretty standard fare for strategy games, but we're definitely trying to put a lot of pressure. We want to own those 4 nodes around the spaceship core. The idea is it provides at least a little bit of protection to the spaceship core if we're able to take it. And obviously it's just going to, the more of these nodes that you're able to own, the more production, the more kryptonite crystal production that you're going to get. And you can see that crystal piles just open back up on the map. You get quite a few of them this time. I don't know if there's a different amount each time that they pop up. The second set of piles that come up on the map, you can see, is worth 2,000 kryptonite crystals each. We've got plenty of people pushing out to them. We're also pushing over to the other side of the board. Again, you definitely want to be prioritizing those crystal piles, especially if you're down in the match. Like, at this point, I think maybe the opponent had already started to lose faith that they had a chance to win. We've got 11 players to their 5 here, but they really should have been pushing for those crystal piles to try to generate some additional resources. And I think this is kind of the turning point where we really had already won the match. We end up getting well over 1 million points in the match, but this was kind of where we felt like we had it in the bag. And the spaceship core hasn't even popped up yet. So I think a lot of you guys are going to experience something much different than us here. I really hope that these matches are more contested in the future. Nobody wants to go into a match and just win every time without having to fight at all. One thing you'll notice on the map screen, the mini map screen, is that we had a lot of the buildings flagged, and at some point we realized we had way too many flags going on. We ended up taking some of those off. You'll probably see that at some point in the battle, but you know, you really